Hello, everybody. It is I, Vid, and I'm here for week 2, for a recap of week 2 of the GRLCS Summer Splash. I'm fairly tired, and the reason that, thank you. The reason that that we're half an hour late rather than being at our regular 6 p.m. Is because I was marching in OKC. But that's neither here nor there because I'm sure we all come to play video games to maybe get away from normal, or maybe not normal, but extraordinary life problems. What was I marching for? Damn, you broke my train of thought. But we play video games to maybe get away from the problems of the world, so I'm just not going to continue. I'm not gonna mention the rest of it. So we are here to talk about week 2 of the GRLCS Summer Splash. So let's pull up the recap. Unfortunately, we did learn last week that gold had been disbanded, so there was no gold. No gold this week. It would have only been one game anyways. But so for Platinum and Diamond, we have 7 games here because we did lose one Diamond team last week. So let's start on the Platinum side. Divine Ascension Black versus Business Time. So this was a 2-0 for Business Time, and they definitely looked like the better team here overall this week. Divine Ascension had the advantage early in Game 1, but it did fall away when Business Time started putting together team fights, and like fighting as 5. They had a great team fight set up Game 1. They had some awesome bullet times from OSU Alarm, and they managed to pull ahead by the mid-game, and at that point they were just kind of playing better as a full team than Divine Ascension Black was. Game 2, on the other hand, really seemed like a fluke to me more than anything. There was a level 1 team fight in Bot River. It was kind of like a 5-man invade versus a 5-man invade, and they both met in the river. And Divine Ascension managed to pick up a 3-for-1 trade, and they got 2 of the kills on JDK, their mid laner, and 1 on Void Alive, their top laner. It also looked like ATL Cartel was playing really poorly this game. He was like straight running it down. He was 0-8 at 18 minutes. So it just did not seem good for Business Time. JDK was on Yasuo against Bon Voyage's Vel'Koz, so he was able to translate that 2-0 lead into roams and solo kills, when Bon Voyage stepped out of line. And by the time that both teams got to late game, Business Time did look fairly good. Cartel was actually doing things, but Divine Ascension was just way too far ahead. They took Soul and they won. By Game 3, it really looked like both teams were getting fatigued. They were fairly long games, fairly back and forth for Games 1 and 2. So Game 3, I'm not surprised that they got tired. The team fights were way messier, and the gold was kind of swinging back and forth, and neither team was really able to lock in an early lead and start to push that. But at the end of the day, Business Time did end up coming out on top in that. So fairly evenly matched. Less so if you look at Game 2, or if you exclude Game 2, because, again, handing over 3 kills in the early game, I don't think that should ever be used as a measure of how good your team is. Like, that can happen to anyone. Next up, we've got MG Blaze versus the Hidden Weeb Village. 2-0 for MG Blaze. Hidden Weeb Village falling to 0-2 in the standings. And Sopachi definitely looked like the weak link in this series. Rito Akita on MG Blaze had a huge impact Game 1. He was finding kills all over the map, and specifically on mid lane against Sopachi, and then the Hidden Weeb Village bot lane. There was a dive bot by Hidden Weeb Village that went so wrong and gave Bubble Lift a quadra kill, and that was basically the end of the game. By 20 minutes, MGB had an 8k lead, and they just didn't let up. They just pushed it into the end. Game 2, Akita again had the better matchup against Jelly Roll, but it wasn't as bad. Sopachi died twice early game, but he did shake it off and then played much better after that. The game was fairly close, definitely the closest of the 4 games that Hidden Weeb Village has played up until this point. And they were kind of trading back and forth, giving as well as they were getting, but by the end, MG Blaze had the definitive gold lead, and they played the last team fight super well, and got a Ken and J4 mosh pit off. So next up is Return of the Middlesticks versus Bucky's Abusement Park, and Bucky's showed up against MG Blaze. I believe beat them last week. Let me check. Or it was Divine Ascension Black. So Bucky's did look surprisingly good. I had slightly higher hopes for Divine Ascension, but Bucky's kind of came out, and I was like, okay, well, this week is going to be how badly do they get smashed by Return of the Middlesticks? That will be the determiner of how decent they are. This one just showed how good Return of the Middlesticks was. There was a big step up of the competition for Bucky's, but damn, this was not close at all. Aikado was absolutely smurfing. He looked like a man possessed. X-Craze played great in both games. And Return of the Middlesticks just played really well as a team overall. Game 1, Aikado played Kindred, and he hard carried. And then Game 2, Bucky's Abusement Park's Array took Kindred, and then Aikado just bent him over the barrel and showed him the 50 states. Game 2 was the interesting one, because Game 1 was like, Aikado got like 8 kills early, and that was it. But in Game 2, Aikado showed that he knew how to play the matchup, but like, not in like a I'm just gonna dominate you kind of way. He gave up big objectives, like he gave up first 2 dragons, I think, and 1 herald, but he was also making sure to take away every single marked camp that Array had. And then at one point in that game, Aikado was 10-1 and 15. He was 10-1 and 5, and then Return of the Middlesticks was able to end Game 2, which was the closer game, in 24 minutes. This is just making me really look forward to next week when Return of the Middlesticks plays GSM. And with how dominant that Return of the Middlesticks has been these last 2 weeks, whereas GSM has had fairly shaky games, I'm favoring Return of the Middlesticks here. I think I definitely might be wrong. Return of the Middlesticks is better, could very well be better than GSM, hands down. And finally, in Platinum, we had Gecko Slammer Armageddon versus Glacial Rising Eagles. For GSM, this definitely looked better than the business time games. Game 1 was still fairly shaky in terms of the mid-game team play. The early game went even, and GSM almost handed a Baron away during a base push, so Glacial Rising had been hanging back in their base and waiting for GSM to push up since GSM was ahead, and GSM's bot lane overextended, got picked, handed over Baron pressure to GRE, and as they started Baron, Midnight Slushy popped right off. He got a quadra kill in a 1v4. And then after that, like, GSM put their head back on their shoulders and ended the game, but it looked pretty shaky there. Game 2 was a very bad early game for GSM. Glacial Rising took an early team fight that they won, and faulted solo kill Jack a few times. So Jack Loves Lamp doesn't normally die multiple times in lane in 1v1s, but this time he did. Boosted Asian, on the other hand, for GSM, did look fairly good in the early and mid game, and it gave GSM the false confidence that they needed to try and sneak a Baron at 23 minutes. Didn't go great. Duddy Brains stole it away, and then Glacial Rising aced GSM. So after that, GRE took the mid inhib, they played around objectives, consolidated their lead, took second Baron. Almost died, or like almost tossed the game, because when they went for the end the first time, the mid inhibitor respawned, which made the Nexus invulnerable, and while they were confused, GSM aced them, but then GSM like pushed too far and lost. Game 3, it seemed like GSM was like really getting it together. That was what GSM was supposed to be. Waterbear looked great. All of GSM's lanes were winning in CS, and they were all making sure to rotate to help with objectives. The team play was good. Midnight Slushy was roaming. And after their laning phase, the rotations were super clean to keep GRE from getting anything back. So next week, Glacial Rising does play Hidden Weeb Village, who I still think they're like a middle-of-the-pack team, 4-5-6. So for GRE, I think this is like the determiner of whether they're a top tier team or a bottom tier team, or like top half or bottom half, because I think right now pretty solidly it looks like Return of the Middle Sticks, GSM, and then MG Blaze are the top couple of teams. Whether GRE is above or below Hidden Weeb Village, that's the question. My money, personally, is on GRE. Now, over to Diamond, where we've got our 3 games. Sensei Squad versus MG Eclipse. MGE won in a 2-1. It did look a lot better than last week for Sensei Squad. They won a game, at least. Sensei Squad did have a lead game 1 at 20 minutes. They played their objectives well, but they had a bad team fight. They had a couple of bad team fights. And they had a bad split push that gave up a pick and then dragon pressure. They had really, like, as I said, they had good objectives in game 1 early, and they were up soul point, and Linsky actually managed a really good steal that got the Infernal Soul for Sensei Squad, and then they were finally able to end. It was a little bit chancy, but they did it. Game 2, Linsky looked really good early. He had a lot of early agency top. They killed the MG Eclipse top laner. We win late. And Sensei Squad was up by like 4k at 20 minutes, which was pretty good, but it was pretty much all Najah, their top laner, against We Win Late. MGE played that really well, where they were able to collapse and pick Najah, and then once they did that, they were able to start finding, fights that they would win. They got themselves a soul point, MGE that is, they got themselves a soul point steal, they found the Baron, and then they got Dragon Soul and then mid inhibitor. Sensei Squad had a really good Baron play right before the end, but they lost it, died, and MGE won. Game 3 was fairly close. MGE gave up some early kills in bot lane that allowed Sensei Squad through. Linsky was playing Kai'Sa jungle, so there were some fairly back and forth team fights through the early mid game. They're like tossing, giving over a team fight, giving over an objective, giving over an objective, giving over a team fight. But toward the mid game, toward the end of the mid game, MGE had some really good objective control. They traded some good objectives. They were up 3-2 in dragons, so they gave over third dragon to Sensei Squad, took the Baron, and then aced Sensei Squad. After they had that lead, they were able then to force Sensei Squad to fight on their terms and ended. They do seem pretty close. The MG Eclipse and Sensei Squad, they seem pretty close. They might be 6-7 or 7-8. I'm not sure yet, or I suppose 6-7 or 5-6, since we only have 7 teams. But next week's matches won't show any light on that, since Sensei Squad has to play Return of the Middle Sticks and MGE has their bye. So we'll have to see what happens in week 4 in order to actually tell how these teams are going to match up against, the rest of the teams. Next up is Return of the Middle Sticks versus Divine Ascension White. Return of the Middle Sticks 2-0'd this one, not surprisingly. It was the Tendies show. He was 14-1 at 20 minutes in game 1, and unlike the game that Stuck Gaming was able to take off of them, was it Stuck Gaming, I think? Yeah, unlike the game 3 that Stuck Gaming was able to take off of them, Divine Ascension wasn't able to find those big collapse picks on Tendies, so he just kept moving around the map and building more leads for the rest of his team. It was fairly boring, honestly. Game 2 was actually similar in gold difference, and Return of the Middle Sticks was still slamming Divine Ascension, but this time it wasn't just Tendies. There was a 9k gold lead at 15 minutes for Return of the Middle Sticks, and they ended in 24-30, and that was including them screwing around and going for soul. There really wasn't much to unpack this series. We knew that Return of the Middle Sticks would do this to Divine Ascension White. So finally, Stuck Gaming versus GSM. It was kind of unexpected, but also it was completely expected because Dog with Hat Gang did the same thing to GSM last split. GSM had the early kill lead game 1, but then Stuck Gaming won a 2v2 in bot, and then they took the second Drake, started to get ahead at 15 minutes. Stuck Gaming's vision game was super good this game. They had the map lit up on every objective that they wanted, and then they had priority over all of the Drakes, all of the Barons. GSM bot lane was 0-12 that game, so you know. Game 2, Stuck Gaming was banking on parry difference. Like, they indexed basically everything into that. He was playing GP, and they had Killering on Karma mid. So GSM did somehow fall behind early game, but SG wasn't able to open up the map and the base in time before GSM came back, took their third Drake, kind of had their late game. Around Baron, GSM was able to punish an overstay. They took Baron, got the mid inhibitor off of it. They really seemed to be feeling it this game, and they were working really well, and then game 3 went all the wrong way. GSM picked up Nocturne jungle. Shiny Bidoof wasn't able to really do anything in the early game, which let Stuck Gaming's Kindred scale super hard and then just take over the rest of the game. In general, in this game, GSM fell behind, and then they started getting twitchy, and they took a super hard desperation fight after Stuck Gaming got Baron, and, Stuck Gaming was able to ace them and hand over the game. So that is the recap of Week 2, and I just clocked in just under 15 minutes. So now you know what time it is next. It is Clip of the Week. So obviously, Clip of the Week, we're going to go through each of the different clips that you've submitted this week for the clip contest. Week 2. Lots of Week 2s. Okay. Starting with Lord Reeves and Vital in the SG versus GSM game. Week 2, it's titled Braum Double Kill. That was a good 2v2. It was a good 2v2. I'll give it that much. But then the whole team did this later with a Wombo combo. Oh no. Okay, wow, there are a lot of clips from Stuck Gaming. I have a feeling they might win this week. So this was the game 3 where Nocturne did nothing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that last clip was basically just an Apheliosar, but there was a good, Gangplank ult was around it, This one, again, Killering. I mean, the last one was literally just a regular solo kill, so. Oh my god, he hit the double bomb. What a skill-expressive champion. You hit one lob skill shot. Okay, I would say definitely the best of these is the Wombo combo. We'll just watch that one again. Because it was basically it was basically just a Aphelios ult. Because parry difference didn't even have his ultimate at this point. But the Braum helped keep them all in place, at least. Yeah, there's more clips. I know, I'm just pointing out the one good one, basically, of these 5. This one's Divine Ascension Gaming versus Business Time. Alright. Yeah, I mean, when the 2v5 ends up, when the 2v5 ends up netting you 3 for 2, it's pretty good.
I don't want to dive yet.
Okay, you're half HP.
You think we can take tower at least?
Yeah. I have Kindred. Can we kill Kindred?
I'm on the other side. I'm coming. Careful. We're in the chokehold. Is a bad spot.
Yeah, Ori already ulted.
We need to be careful about this.
I'm healing. If we play it slow, I'll have ult. Oh shit, I'm coming.
Karasuda
Oof.
1v1, kill.
That's a good
End the game.
that's a good Ornn. That was some tanky ass Ornn and a great Shurima shuffle.
Until I get like closer to form, that'd be better. I'll give you next blue after this one too.
Man. I do love literally standing still during my calling.
Nice. Wow.
Nice.
Bro, that was all Oshkosh. He's the one that kept that Lucian alive. He like watch this again. So
Until I get like closer to form, that'd be better. I'll give you next blue after this one too.
So jumps right in, goes melee mode, stands exactly still for the culling, gets stunned. He flashes in, does get the kill there. But like,
Nice.
literally, Rakan keeps his ass alive the entire time. And also, yeah, Pulsefire Prestige Lucian is hot. That is such a good skin. And the final clip. If it'll ever load. If it'll ever load. Don't make me. Wait, who submitted this clip? Okay, Will I Ever Quit submitted the clip, so let's... It's supposed to be a Braum play. Oh, it was it the... Okay, it was the pick on with the blast cone. All right. So I'm thinking it's either this one, the Oshkosh play, because this was a good Rakan play. He could have just totally let him die, and still traded even, or still traded 2 for 1 actually. The Shurima shuffle, definitely up there. This one was pretty good. Don't think it was better than the Shurima shuffle though. I gotta go with the Shurima shuffle. That was... We'll watch it again. It was nice.
I don't want to dive yet.
Okay, you're half HP.
You think we can take tower at least?
Yeah. I have Kindred. Can we kill Kindred?
I'm on the other side. I'm coming.
So far he's taken 800 damage and eaten like
Ori already
half a dozen different abilities.
We need to be careful about this.
I'm healing. If we play
Yeah,
it slow,
now he's
I'll have
taking,
ult.
again, taking a little bit more damage, but hell, that
Karasuda
Shurima shuffle.
1v1, kill.
This was such a good one.
Alright, end the game.
Yeah,
End the game.
X-Craze, you win. So congratulations technically Icado, but really, Vbon and X-Grays. You're the Week 2 Clip of the Week champion. So, yeah, as Clip of the Week champion, you are the Clip of the Week champion. So now is the next part of the podcast, which is trying to figure out what game we're going to be playing. Or which game I'm going to show. Or I could just not show a game because I'm kind of tired. But there were some good games this week, admittedly. There were some pretty good games. So, like, definitely not either of the Return to the Middle Six Diamond games. Definitely not either of the Return to the Middle Six Diamond games, because they're not interesting whatsoever. I could get up and walk away. I don't know. Who is even in chat? Sound off. If you want your game shown, sound off. I'll wait. Because if X-Craze is the only one, it's me, X-Craze. I mean, if X-Craze is the only one who wants his game shown, I'll show. We could show GSM. We could show how GSM lost. Really, that's a GRE game. GSM Return to the Middle Six Plat already got streamed, so GSM Diamond is what you're saying. Oh wait, GRE is... No, it's GRE is Plat. Wow, I am... Sorry, yeah, I'm completely brain dead. Yeah, which of those Stuck Gaming... Game 1 was pretty interesting. Game 3 was kind of just sad. We'll do Game 1. Yeah, we'll do Game 1. Didn't they stream GSM Plat this week? They did. They did. I was completely blanking on the fact that GRE is a Platinum team. I kept thinking, like, GRE. GRE is the Diamond. Yeah. Return of the Middle Six has been doing great work. Streaming the games. But yeah, let's... Wait for this to open up. Was there a patch this week? Wait, was there a patch this week? No, the game was played 2 days ago. No, wait, the game was played early this week. There was a patch, wasn't there? Okay, we can't do the GSM we can't do the GSM Diamond games because I patched. Jelly Roll already rage quit. Yeah. Can I do Hidden Weeb Village? Sure. Which was the better game of those? Is your roommate Sopachi? You can make fun of your roommate. Is that Sopachi? Let's do game 1 because that has Bubble Lift's highlight. Hey, Sopachi, if you have a better idea, I am very happy to hear it. Although I may not be able to stream this one either, because I totally forgot that this week was patch week. Let's see. If it's not, we can do Business Time or MG Eclipse. Okay, so we're good. Nope, don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. We're doing it. We are doing it. Let's swap over And this is MG Blaze. Yeah, MG Blaze. And this is Hidden Weed Village. Who are 0 and 1. And 0 and 1. Right? Son, you got maced, didn't you? No, I managed to get away from being maced before it happened. The OKC protesters, we left at like 4:45 or so, and then literally at like 5:15, as we were pulling out of the parking lot, one of our friends texted us and was like, "Yeah, we've decided to go march on the police stations." I'm like, "Oh, buddy." Oh. Food! I'm so hungry. Oh. All right. Thank you. Thank you. My roommates just came and brought me Chinese food, so I'm very happy now. All right. Hell, we could do 2 games tonight because I've got food. So, no, I didn't get maced, but the protesters, after I left, they all said, they were like, "Yeah, we're going to the police station, so we're gonna have fun." I'm like, "Oh God, you guys are gonna get maced so hard." So, as I said last week, I watched these on 4 times speed in order to get through them in a reasonable amount of time. So this looks so slow, and I always forget that early games have literally nothing in them. Unless it's, like the Hidden Weed Village level 1. I used to work at a prison. In the training for it, you have to walk through a whole building that's been fogged with tear gas to understand what it's like. Or tear gas or mace. Also, holy shit. That's gnarly. In, like, both an awesome and a not awesome way. And that's Lord Reeves, so. Both. You have to do both. Mace and tear gas. I knew you had to get tased. I knew you had to get tased to work in, like, enforcement. Oh, so a fun thing, just a complete tidbit that I learned this morning while doing some research. Oh, wait a minute. First, Akita's coming in for a gank. He does get Levi's flash, and he does end up killing Psycho. So, both of the summoner spells are down for Levi's. Which, like, that's basically the best thing that could have happened. The flash was pretty good. But yeah, back to the thing. I learned tidbit. For police officers in the United States, like, the standard training, you take, like, 60 hours of weapons training, like 40 hours of hand-to-hand combat, like 40 hours of personal fitness and nutrition. And then you take, like, 15 hours of situation de-escalation. Which, interesting thing to think about, when, in this day and age. But yeah, the shock pens and tasers and... No, miss me with that. Miss me with that. I am not an electricity through my muscles and bones kind of guy. The only electricity I want there is the electricity that's coming from my brain. So, one thing I was interested about when I saw this game, was that Jelly Roll was on Gragas with laners that want to snowball, like Darius and Yasuo, and, you know, Kai'Sa to an extent. Like, have an early game jungler. And obviously he's, like, really good Lee Sin, so either Lee Sin was banned and he doesn't play, like, J4 or whatever, or a lot of things got banned away from him. So this was just an interesting one for Hidden Weave Village. It's like, okay, why? Like, yeah, you've got strong laners, but Darius and Yasuo do also like to bully and snowball after they've started, continued being strong. And in contrast, I mean, you've got Sopachi and Papatito, who are both actually down the level. Papatito, who's losing in the lane, and Jelly Roll coming in. ZZ Route Portal does have flash available. Papatito had to flash away. ZZ Route Portal is going to go down here, I believe, but Sopachi also goes down to a gank. Or no, ZZ Route Portal doesn't even go down, so you lose that fight entirely on the side of Hidden Weave Village. You're down 1.2k. It's 6 minutes into the game, and Sopachi's already 0-2. That's not good. That's not good for your Yasuo. Like, the 0-10 power spike is a meme, but it is just a meme. But I do like the personal stories from everyone who's watching. Learning that Lord Reeves was a prison guard. Oh, Sopachi. Yeah, this is unfortunate. Like, as I said, he was the weak link, but also it was because Akita kept putting his attention there. But, like, trading 2 for 1 here, suddenly your team's down 2k, you're down a dragon, you're about to lose your blue buff. F's in chat, boys. Thank you, Reeves. So I just had a thought. Would it be more palatable for the podcast if, say, I just did the half-hour, 45-minute rundown and clip show, and then took a different day of the week to cast a game, and, like, actually cast it? Because obviously we went from, like, 9 viewers to 4 between the end of the clip show and 8 minutes into this game. Yeah, so I went through the game clips already. This was only having 7 games to go through actually made it really fast. So, it is going to be in the VOD. Yeah, sorry, Reeves, none of your clips made it. It was the Return of the Middle Sticks. Return of the Middle Sticks had just such a great Shurima shuffle in Game 1, I believe. Or Game 2. It was in Game 2. And it was really nice. And just in general, it was a pretty good team fight. The Wombo combo was basically just an Ophelio Assault, though. X-Craze knows what I'm talking about. The Wombo combo was an Ophelio Assault. And Sopachi gets boofed. Again. I'd like to see a League of Legends lawyer about the definition of Wombo combo. This isn't General Tso's chicken. My Chinese food is distinctly not General Tso's chicken. Yeah, the laughable solo kill, which was literally just hits things, like auto attacks her a bunch, and then presses Q once and hits her with it, and then kills her. Which is pretty similar to the Mordekaiser solo kill later, except he just hits 2 bombs instead of 1. Who'd you guys play this week? Oh yeah, Ori wins the auto battle every time. It was a complete, like, you know, 404 Oriana brain not found in that case, or in that fight. Yeah, GSM looked weird this week, honestly. I don't know what it is, like, the mental block against you guys, I guess? Like, do you think it's a mental block, or do you think you guys just, like, counter them on a stylistic level or something? Because I think they're a really good team. Oh, okay, 1 draft. That makes sense. Yeah, I didn't even think of looking at draft. Because I also don't know the order. I have no clue what the order draft is in. Because I can't tell by looking at the match history. And if we had anyone who was actually good at draft, because none of us pay attention, like none of the casters pay attention to what draft should be like, because, you know, we pretty much never have to do it. But if we had someone who was good at draft, I would definitely consider, like, putting draft in, like, in a segment at least. The Magic the Gathering, like, this is a blue-white deck. Like, this draft is basically supposed to be a blue-white deck. Did you see LS, like, made that analogy? And, of course, you know, he was being kind of pretentious about it, so people were like, yeah, okay, wait, great analogy, you know, great analogy, LS. But then, like, 2 weeks later, Reapered basically made the same analogy, and later he admitted, like, yeah, I got the idea from LS. Like, when he mentioned it, I looked at it more, and I expanded the analogy. And LS got so butthurt. Draft is key to winning games through tempo. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, you need to have... I think the better team can have a substandard draft. Like, if you're measurably and provably better than another team, you can have a substandard draft and still win just based on being better players or a better coordinated team. But it'll take long. It'll take a long time. And I think that's kind of where Stuck Gaming and Dog with Hat King, like, beat GSM last split in this, was, like, having better tempo and, like, a better understanding of what the team comp was supposed to do. Game 2, we could have won against GSM, but we made mistakes, and GSM punished us hard for it, and then we got screwed for it. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember, like, exactly how Game 2 went, but I do remember GSM pulled ahead. Like, it wasn't like an early game stomp, you know. Yeah, you lost draft, but it wasn't like a horrifically lose draft. Jeez. But I'm pretty sure this is the quadra kill. So Papatito and Psycho don't go onto ward box at all. Or they only go onto Warbox, rather. They don't go onto Bubble Lift at all. Jelly Roll comes in, but he's one guy, he's underfed, and Bubble Lift already has, like, 8 kills. And he basically gets a 2v4 Quadra. Yeah, right? Is right. So, very simply, what happened was, it was a 2v2, and Papatito teleported down. Or he walked down, can't remember. But he didn't have, he doesn't have boots. He doesn't have full boots. Bubble Lift and Wardbox do, so he couldn't chase them. Levi's and Psycho couldn't really get on top, and when they did, it was only on the Karma. So you have 3 guys focusing all their damage to kill a Karma who, is still kind of fed, or, kind of strong. But the whole time, there's a 5-0 Caitlyn just slamming you with this Infinity Edge. Blue team win this in 23, 25 minutes. Let me check. I usually write down the win times. You're pretty damn close. 26:54. Yeah, it's Karma's mantra W is you don't have any healing reduction. Karma can stall for so much longer. It was just it's very basic target focus problems. That in a 3v2, you target the support that has built-in sustain, and your jungler isn't there, and then when your jungler is there, your top laner has decided to just bugger off to nowhere. I think at that point, just live with the double or the triple. Jelly Roll doesn't need to come down. Papatito can just walk away. Levi's and Psycho are already dead. Let it happen. Because, you're behind. You're 6k behind. Two auto attacks takes half of Sopachi's health. Mamma mia. You know what? Let's turn this up to double speed. Okay. But for GSM Diamond, and this is Lord Reeves, the Stuck Gaming support, back on GSM Diamond, I don't think they necessarily have a lane that they just play through mechanically. They're good players, they play together well, but they don't have that one hard carry that pops off, so they tend to beat you by punishing your mistakes. That's what I've gotten from them when we played them. I think that's a super valuable take, and I think it's pretty much accurate. I've seen that GSM Platinum is the same way. They kind of play for late game by punishing the mistakes that people make in the early and mid game. And again, they're team oriented, but there's up until this point where it kind of seems like all 3 of the people they picked up from Sensei Squad were all hard carries, were all super star players. But in general, GSM has always been an org that's we're good players individually, but it's not like we play through a lane. Yeah, generally it turns into late game Torchic is going to carry, but that's because he's ADC and he likes playing Jinx and Misfortune. But, you just as frequently see Vici getting them to that point as you do whoever their mid laner happens to be, whether it's Yvonne or Inox or anyone, and, last split was kind of a meme, but on occasion, Shiny Bidoof also has that exact same kind of I'm gonna play an early game carry and just mess up the rest of your team. kind of performance. I think they're kind of like... They're like old TSM. They're like 2016 TSM. They're one of those triple threat teams, but they do that by forcing you to play around them, and then when they do, or then when you play around them, they start to punish you for it. And I think that takes on other teams are really valuable from the players in the league, because obviously I didn't play the game. I don't know how the game felt. I don't know how draft went. I don't know any of these things. So I think those are really good times to get takes from players, because the players know how the game went. I know how the game looked. And this game looks bad. This game is hard. It hurts. Alright, we'll watch the last 2 minutes in regular speed. So obviously this is going to be pretty much falling on deaf ears, because there's only 4 people in the chat right now. But I have been, like, I didn't think that week 1 and week 0 went, like, super great. I think they did okay, but there's definitely more that this podcast can be doing. I never really watched Get Recalled when Maris hosted it or when Cyrene hosted it, but is a co-host something that's like super important? Because I generally like just being able to say whatever comes to mind in my own tempo, etc. And I think there is definitely a value to having co-hosts or guests on it, but I'm not sure if you guys want one specific co-host. So if that is something that is like that's important to you for me to have a consistent co-host, or for me to just have more individual guests on to talk about teams that they've played or the team that they are, please let me know, because I just want to make this a good podcast that gets consistent viewership. But more importantly, if there's something I'm doing well, please let me know, because I will put more time into it to make it better. I'll make sure to post that in Discord as well, so if you're not watching this live, or if you're not watching this at all, you will know, and I will know the reason why you aren't watching it. But in general, yeah, I just want to, I want to know what I can do better to make this podcast more enjoyable, because, I mean, obviously it seems like for podcast-type stuff, you typically want a two-host to help move the conversation along and not run out of things to think about. It also adds different insights to the conversation. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I just need someone to tell me that. Because I was thinking that, but also, I hosted this last season, and, like, you know, Ikato, love him, good player, not my kind of, like, not my guy for the podcast. He worked as Maris's, but I'll just have to find my own. So, if there are any tips on that as well, let me know, because, again, it's for you. If I just get a guy that I really like and we're going to have the same exact opinion on everything, doesn't really do the job that he's supposed to be doing, is he? So, this is the end of the podcast, basically. It's been about an hour. So, thank you everyone for watching. I'll make sure to ask again in Discord what I can be doing better, what ideas people might have for who I should have as my co-host. And, yeah, I am really tired and my brain is melting. So, thank you everybody for watching, and I will be seeing you next week for week 3, when we are going to recap another 7 games, but this time the 7 games will be different, because that's what happens week to week. Thank you everybody, have a great night, and stay comfy.
Solus is like me. Like,
Well, what does that mean?
like, we make it so the game, so the player doesn't get